all, and welcome to another thrilling episode of Off the Dome. I'm your humble interviewer, Jordan Brown, and with me for the very first time is our incredible interviewer. Say hi, incredible interviewer.
Hi, incredible interviewer.
Catherine, thank you so much for joining me. I feel like as an ode to Pretty Gay, we should start how we identify. I'll go first. Jordan, he, him. No one has ever been surprised that I'm an only child.
Okay. Catherine, she, her, was told that I still give hand job energy, which is true.
Oh, delightful. Catherine, thank you so much. Your show, Pretty Gay, could not be more fun. It's just, it also, one of the things that I really love, I love to see an interviewer who brings a very similar energy to interviews that I bring, which is absolute chaos. Like just wild all the time, beginning to end.
But do you know that that's what you bring? Because I sort of was taught, especially because now we're in season 2, and I feel like I was taught that I'm bringing that energy from the guests, from sort of their faces when they're receiving me. And I'm like, no, this is normal. What are you doing with your face?
I feel like I think at the beginning I was like, I'm Sean Evans Hot Ones in this. Like, I've got my deep dive, like I've done my research, and then like a similar reaction of guests just being like, what? And I'm like, oh yeah. Especially I ended up chatting with Vic Michaelis like 7 times. I know, your fiance.
Truly, my fiance. This is the ring, so
congratulations.
No big deal.
Yeah. And each one of those, I think, got progressively more chaotic because Vic also brings a very heavy, chaotic energy to the set. I adore the interview you did with them, because I got to watch it as an outsider and not have to like sweat my way through Vic interrupting questions, not listening to questions, ending sentences with, did that answer your question? A thing I'm sure you had to cut out.
Yeah, absolutely. And so much of being an interviewer, and I don't know if this is what like you experience, is entering into the other person's energy. And so since we're both like hosts, and we're both like different kinds of hosts, but both very chaotic, it was interesting to try to match their energy with like, they talk so fast. And I thought that I talked so fast. No. I talk slow. I'm a turtle. So it was so fun. And I'm so glad that was the first episode that we released, because I just feel like it was like pop, 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 pop. And also it like broke into the Dropout like universe, and sort of like we got the love of their fans as well, which was so delightful.
This season, chock-a-block with Dropout stars. It's Jordan, Kendall, Alex, Anna, Vic, Erica, Giovanni, and I'm saving Grant for last, obviously, because a special edition to your show, the first man on your show, I believe.
Yes.
But anyway, just like, not to mention a dozen other people on top of that for season 2. It's a beast of a season. I'm sure coming off of such a successful season 1, and probably doesn't hurt to have Sam Reich as an executive producer. Look,
it helps. Listen, it helps. Did I have their contact information before this? No, I didn't.
Do you know how many times I've slid into people's DMs to be like, Sam Reich did an interview with me. Do you want to do one? And they're like, well, I mean, if Sam did one, I guess I have to, right? Like, that feels like...
I know. I actually used, because he's just a dear friend of mine, right? Not just, so many other things. Also a CEO of a company, but a dear friend. And we met years and years and years ago, and I didn't even know about like College Humor, or I was learning about Sam and then learning about his life. And so when I was going to Edinburgh, which I'm a performer, and I took a show to Edinburgh, and Sam has I've been over in Scotland with Sam and Elaine, and they get recognized when they're over there. And it's so fun to be sort of like their friend and be like, oh my God, and you're famous. And that's crazy. But when I was taking a show over there, they want like pull quotes for your show. They want somebody to like have critiqued your show. And I was like, well, I don't really know anyone. And I was like, oh my God, Sam is famous. It has so many fans in the specific like Edinburgh Fringe universe, like the people who go to Fringe. And so he was so generous and he gave me a pull quote for like my little flyer. But when I was talking to talking to my people and being like, I could ask Sam Reich, they were like, yeah, ask Sam Reich. And I was like, oh my God, you know who Sam Reich is, my dear friend?
It's so funny. Yeah. I am curious about Sam.
Yeah.
Is the cackle when he is on set distracting for you or just for the viewers at home?
No, just for the viewers at home. I love a cackle. He has a great cackle, and then also Elaine was on set the whole time, and her laugh is like one of my most favorite laughs in the entire world. And so when the crew, we had a small crew, and the producers were obviously there as well. And so like we had like a smaller intimate set, but it's a comedy show, so you want to hear laughs, and also people who weren't a part of the Dropout universe were typically like stand-up comedians, and when you're a stand-up comedian, you want a laugh. Otherwise, you're like, where am I? What am I doing? So it was really, really helpful.
Yeah. I was rewatching the Vic interview today, maybe, I don't know, in prep for this, and I because I had my headphones in, and I was like, I hear Sam Reich. Like it is a very distinctive laugh. Oh, it feels good to get a big one out of him. Which you mentioned you've seen my interview with Sam. I got a couple of big ones out of him that I was like, oh, like I'm gonna dine out on this for months in my head. Just like, oh, feels good.
Yeah, it does.
Similarly, when you get like Vic isn't a hard laugh, but similarly when you get Vic to laugh, I think because they're so brilliant, it's one of those things you're like, yeah, I made Vic laugh. That feels good.
It's always fun when you can sort of get the guest, you know, and when you're on the same, like when you're playing like the exact same game, because I do feel like some of the guests didn't know what game I was playing, and so then you're sort of getting them in a different way where you're like just bamboozling them.
Yeah. I will say, I should say, I mentioned that I didn't know I was chaotic. I will say this is what my notes look like. I have the word dome written down, and I have no idea what the context for it was supposed to be. So
I don't know either.
Couldn't tell you. I don't know if I had started working on a different Dimension 20 interview and just was on your page on accident. But
well, I mean, we do have like some people from that universe on the show, but I actually don't know anything about that universe, and I feel like so new and like I want to learn, and then also so dumb when anybody starts talking about it.
That's fair. It's a lot. I will say I do have the note directly underneath it, and I do know what this note is. Started Real Housewives of Miami, although I did write RHOM, and it took me another minute to be like, what on earth were you writing down? But I got it. Exclusively for Larsa Pippen, I am obsessed. How do you feel?
Okay, so and I'm sorry to disappoint you, but I have only seen half of the first episode of the Real Housewives of Miami. Miami is something that I just dipped my toe into because I feel like it's something that gets missed when people are like doing Real Housewives, and they go like, okay, so I'm going to do New York, I'm going to do Beverly Hills, right? And then of course, Salt Lake City was having a moment, and I'm sort of wrapped into the Salt Lake City universe right now, and I can't really do two. I can't do two at the same time because my brain will melt fully out of my head and into my hand.
Yeah,
but,
can I sell you on my? Do you know the story of Larsa Pippen?
No, tell me everything.
So Larsa Pippen is dating, or was dating, who knows?
Yes,
right? It's the wildest story ever. Dating Marcus Jordan, Michael Jordan's son, and at
Yeah.
first you're like, oh, that's so cute. Scottie Pippen's daughter and Michael Jordan's son are dating. No. Scottie Pippen's ex-wife, who
Yes.
married Scottie Pippen in 1997,
And that's actually the kind
Marcus
of
was like
chaos
10.
that we need
Yes.
from like the Real Housewives universe. And that is like, I look back. So in Beverly Hills, there was Gigi and Bella Hadid's mother. Oh my God, she has Lyme disease. I see her face. She was married to, oh no, this is going to be a terrible story. This is how I tell stories. I go, she's married to that guy who's that composer who then sings Christmas music. Okay, cut all this out.
I want you to know all of this is staying in.
Oh no. But he's now married, the composer, David Foster. Yes, we got there.
We got there.
Okay, so David Foster is married to Catherine McPhee. And I love sort of like this little trajectory because David Foster was so in love with Yolanda, who is the mom of Gigi and Bella, and was like a model. They were appropriately aged. And then David Foster like left Yolanda, married Catherine McPhee, who's like, I don't know, 75 years younger than him. And it's insane. I feel like that drives me crazy. It's something that takes up so much of my brain space. So I love that you're bringing up like Larsa Pippen, who kind of like did it opposite, right?
Yeah.
And is like Scottie Pippen's ex-wife dating like this young, oh my God, what are we doing?
Not just a young guy, Michael Jordan's son. Like it's
like a teammate. And then what?
Yes.
Are you like talking about your ex-husband and then like your boyfriend goes like, oh yeah, I remember when you guys were all at my house at my christening or like whatever.
Yeah, there's no way Scottie and Larsa did not have a massive Chicago wedding. You're from Chicago. You know what that had to be like. Like, unless there was a no kids allowed, Marcus Jordan was at their wedding, right? Like, for sure.
That's so crazy.
You didn't not invite Michael Jordan to your wedding in 1997. Like, the year, like, no. But yeah, it's also fun to start Miami at the beginning, which is where I am at, when Larsa is madly in love with Scottie still, and he's like on the show and everything is great. And
so
I'm like, yes, future me loves this.
I know. Yeah. And I was watching it. One of my friends came into town and was staying with me because all my friends are going through breakups right now. Me too. But you know, the eclipse season, it really got us. Especially if you're gay, you're done. But so my friend was staying with me and we were sort of like getting ready to like go out. And I don't know if you've ever been around girls, but they either listen to music or they watch The Real Housewives. And so we started The Real Housewives of Miami. And we were like, this is a great getting ready show.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. This is also where I do bad transitions. Speaking of Christmas music, which you mentioned a little bit ago, did you and Vic get a chance to talk about being Hallmark movie stars for holiday movies?
Oh, no, I don't think we did. But I believe that Vic did share that one of their dreams was to be like like in musical theater and on Broadway, right? So I
don't know if they would say Broadway. I believe that they have described their singing voice as loud but not good.
Yeah, but I say Broadway.
Okay, fair.
I believe in my guests.
That's wonderful. I love it.
But no, is there some kind of dream that we both share to be in a Hallmark Christmas movie? Because that is something that I definitely want.
You were in The Christmas Pitch.
Yes.
Vic was in Round and Round. I just assumed The Christmas Pitch was a Hallmark movie. I looked nothing into it. I saw the title and I was like, gotta be.
Yeah, it's definitely of that caliber, which I mean Oscar.
Yes.
But I actually don't know where it lives. It's definitely not Hallmark. It's like on probably like Voodoo or like, you know, one of those.
Hallmark adjacent.
Yeah, exactly.
And Round, Vic, a Hanukkah Hallmark movie. It is genuinely delightful if you haven't seen it.
I'll watch it. I love those movies. I'm writing like a Christmas movie of that sort of like niche, you know, of that variety. And so, yeah, I guess I'll take it to Vic and we'll both star in it.
I love it. now we're going off the rails completely. Do you know Mystery Science Theater, like the comedy movie mocking show? There's a local group. I live in Austin, Texas, called Master Pancake Theater, and they do like live movie mocking, like in a theater with a bunch of people. And periodically, they do a show called Choose Your Own, where the audience brings DVDs, and you get up and you pitch to the audience, and the audience chooses one, and they do like an improvised mock. Last night, I pitched a chocolate chip cookie mystery, which is one of a series of confectionery mystery Hallmark movies. Apparently there's like a dozen of them. There's like the plum pudding mystery. I don't remember what all of them were. I came in second. We ended up watching Double Team with Jean-Claude Van Damme and Dennis Rodman, speaking of the 97 Bulls, which is... I'm not upset about losing. It was an amazing night. Dennis Rodman changed his hair colors, I think, 6 times in the movie over the span of like a week.
This movie.
It's bonkers. I mean, it's Dennis Rodman. How could it not be? But yeah, there's no question in there. I was just telling you what I was up to last night.
And I love that. And I know, and I love that you shared that. And I feel like the Hallmark movies, like, I feel like if we did a game where it was like, guess which one is not a Hallmark movie, and then you just like threw out a million different titles, like all of them would actually be Hallmark movies, because of course they have a series that is like a confectionery mysteries. What? That's gold. That's beautiful. That's actually gorgeous. Bad Christmas movies like sort of take me through the holidays. I got incredibly ill 2 like holiday seasons ago, and so I was in bed a lot. I have colitis, and it was like when I was getting diagnosed, and I was like very, very sick, and I couldn't eat anything. And so all I did was like watch these horrible Netflix movies, and they gave me so much joy that I was like, oh, I'm never making fun of any of these movies ever again, because like it really like carried me through my sickness. And I was like, yeah, art has meaning, even if it is a mystery about like who stole the chocolate chip cookie, you know?
Oh, this one, someone was murdered, and the owner, the dairy delivery man was murdered, and the main character's chocolate chip cookies were on the scene, so she has to solve the mystery in order to clear not her own name, but the reputation of her chocolate chip cookies.
Exactly. Yeah, and that does make sense because the cookies were present.
Yeah. Just to make sense. So if you're looking for Christmas, there is the plum pudding mystery. So that one is their Christmas entry in the confectionery mystery series.
Oh, got it. So they're not all Christmas themed.
No, most of them are just confectionery. They're just confectionery murders. And you can get, I think, one DVD disc has like 5 of the movies on it. So, you know, and there's based on a book series of 15. Oh, also the series called Murder, She Baked.
Oh my God, really burying the lead there. I'm so sorry. That. I actually share my name with somebody who is an author of children books. So not to sort of relate it to something that we're not talking about at all, but if you Google me, I am a 60-something-year-old woman, my face, her bio. And I hope that never changes.
I love when that happens on Google, when someone's like, hey, this is Allie Beardsley, and it's a picture of Brian Murphy, and you're like, those are not the same people. I see how you got there, kind of. But yeah. Oh, delightful. Grant O'Brien.
Yeah.
Why? Obviously by King, we love him. But what is the choice? How did he make it to your list of first cis man on your show?
Yeah, great question. So obviously exec producer Sam Reich was pulling a lot from the Dropout universe, and we talked a lot about if we wanted to include a guy on the show. I don't go out with men, but I have a openness or like a willingness to entertain the idea, I guess. But I don't have any interest in dating a man, but I do describe myself as pretty gay. And Grant felt like he also sort of embodied that energy of like, he is bisexual. He's very like openly bisexual, and he's also very like suave like person, like that's sort of his character. And so we thought that he would be like a fun intro to like seeing if like, yeah, maybe here and there we can like throw in a guy, because I have dated men in the past, and so sometimes people do put me in like the bisexual category, so why not have like another bisexual on the show, and we could like guffaw and see what that energy would bring, because like obviously cis male energy, like very different than like what the sort of what the pretty gay universe is in general. But I find that bisexual men also do embody sort of like this fun gay you know, magical sparkly stuff. And at the end of the day, the show is just like magical sparkly stuff. So
I love that. I also realize we're 20 minutes in and I haven't asked you to describe the show, which is probably a mistake on my part. But also, how would people be watching me and not have seen at least a clip of your show? Like that's, yeah, at least a clip. What is pretty gay? I'm not going to cut this to the beginning. I'm going to leave it 20 minutes in.
No, I think you should leave it here. It's the perfect time to introduce the show. Pretty Gay is it lives on Patreon. Full episodes live on Patreon of the Pretty Gay Patreon. But it is me, your host, Catherine McCafferty, and I go on a mock interview style dates with queer creators. So most of them are queer comedians. We do have a queer musician who comes on sort of mid-season, I believe. And we also have my ex-girlfriend as a guest. Wow. That's pretty gay of us to do, to be honest. But yeah, it's just like we play fun games. I put my dates in various scenarios and situations, and then we just play off of each other and we have a fun time.
You do one of my favorite things that I wish I did for this show, and I use show pretty loosely, describing myself, not you. You have a professional set and editors and things. But you do the thing that I love, which is like this segment or this game is called, and then you have a name for a new thing. It's like every time I'm like, God, I should do that. But the problem is I'm prepping right up until the moment I'm doing an interview. And then I'm like, I don't have time to come up with names on top of this.
But I have like brilliant people helping me come up with names. So that was like sort of a little writer's room between myself and it was like me and Kaylin, the director, Kaylin Mahoney, and Elaine Carroll. Yeah, but I have like writers to help me like come up with segments, and that's incredibly helpful.
Yeah, I would like that. That would be fun.
Brad,
these whole things, yeah. You have writers, producers, editors, professional lighting, a set.
No, I feel so incredibly lucky. Like when we wrapped the season 2, when I cry, I've like different cries. I think everybody has different cries, but one of my cries, which is a very genuine cry, looks like a very fake cry. I look like a girl who's trying to cry. And then I make like guttural like sounds. And that's the cry that came out at like the end of the season. And we have like a little clip. One of my guests like took a video of me crying because it looks crazy. People were laughing. I look crazy. And I'm just like, this is my dream. And thank you so much. Like literally every single day that I post a clip, I'm like, oh my God, somebody like a team of people helped like my dream come true. Like that is so lucky. I'm so lucky.
Yeah, look, it's just me, and I still feel incredibly lucky that I get to do this silly nonsense, that I get to slide into people's DMs. I messaged you on Patreon in order to be like, hey, you want to do an interview? And I was like, I wonder who checks these messages, if anyone.
I check the messages. I'm delighted anytime anyone subscribes. I'm like, wait, what? This is great. Yeah. Like I hope I never lose that. I don't think I ever will. I think I will always be sort of delighted by the universe.
Yeah. Can we talk about how Patreon tells you when people leave and how unnecessary that is?
I
Like,
know. It's sad. It's like so and so's canceled your subscription. So I turned off the notifications because I was getting
oh, you
emails every
can
time
turn
that
them off.
happened.
Oh, yes, yeah. I have the emails turned off, but like when I
Right.
log
But
in, I
when you
still
log
see it.
on, it
Yes.
still tells you like how many people canceled and left you. And you're like,
Yeah.
as a child of divorce, like this is tough.
Yeah. It's hard. Like the thing that I hate about it is I understand even $5 a month is not doable for some people in any
No,
given
totally.
month. And so
Totally.
like I fully get like,
Yeah.
yeah, or even maybe it is, and you're still just like, yeah, you know what? I'm not interested in the
Yeah.
content this month. I'm gonna take a break and maybe I'll be back, maybe I won't. But still every time I see it, especially when it's someone I know, I'm like, ah man. Like
Totally. When it's someone you know. Yes. Wait, I just recently had that very unique experience where I was like, wait a second. Like, and it's not somebody that I know like super well, but they were subscribed at one of my higher tiers and then they unsubscribed, but were still like DMing me. And I was like, not that you have to give me money to like DM me. Obviously you don't. Like I, they've come to some of my shows before. They're a very lovely person and I'll still DM them back, but I was a little bit like, aw.
yeah.
That hurt my feelings.
Yeah. Hey, Patreon, turn that off. I
Yeah,
don't
stop
need to
doing
know.
that. Stop.
You can just tell me how much money I'm making, and if I want to look into it, I'll go see how many people have canceled. You don't have to tell me every time.
Exactly. It'd be like if Instagram gave you a notification every single time that somebody unfollowed you.
Oh, it would. My heart would break.
That would destroy my entire life, actually.
Yeah. I do this stupid thing on TikTok where I do a rant of like, here's people you shouldn't be following, like family influencers, like that kind of thing. And someone one time commented, they're like, I followed you just to unfollow you. And I was like, I have 65,000 followers, which is not like a ton, but I don't see
No,
like
but that's
it.
not.
It's not an individualized number anymore for me. It's not like I have 8 and I saw
Right.
it click to 9 and then go back to 8.
Right.
Like I didn't know and I don't care. Like
Yeah, that did not hurt my feelings. Try
yeah.
harder.
Yes, try harder. My feelings are
Send me
easily
hate
hurt.
mail.
Try harder. Yeah. Yeah, subscribe to my Patreon and quit. That will hurt my feelings much more. And fill out your exit survey that for some
God.
Yeah. The only time it doesn't hurt is when it's literally like, I can't afford this anymore. I'm like, great.
Right.
That's the only one I can feel good about.
And I actually totally understand that because my months are like so varied being like the arts industry. Like sometimes you're like, yeah, I can give my friends money. And then sometimes you're like, I actually can't and I'll be back.
Yeah, I had to dip into savings for the first time in a long time, which we're fine. We're fine because I'd had a couple of bad months in a row on TikTok, and I was like, I have a normal job as well, but like TikTok's where I get my playing around money.
Right? No, exactly. It's like I want a new pair of shoes.
Yeah, I'm gonna yell about the way people. One of my most popular videos, how people pronounce Reese's Pieces, and that people shouldn't say Reese's Pieces.
Oh no!
Now,
why are people doing that?
I don't know. People will say to make it rhyme, which doesn't make sense because Reese's Pieces already rhymes.
Yeah. Oh, that might just be the failure of like the American school system. Honestly,
It might be. Yeah. To be fair, I should clarify though, that video was for charity. Most of the time when I have a stupid rant about a thing that I hate, I donate all the money I make from that to charity. And that was just like $750 on TikTok, which is bonkers money for me.
it's crazy.
That I then donated. I don't even remember which charity it was.
Sure.
But yeah, it's a fun little game that now my followers are in on. When they see me, usually I'm standing up screaming about a thing, and they're like, "Oh, this is a charity video." Jordan wouldn't be standing up yelling if it wasn't a charity video. That's not the kind of content creator he is.
I love that though. Yeah. Throw in like a little charity video where you're just totally reaming a product.
Yeah. You have to weaponize rage because that's what TikTok wants, and it's sad. Speaking of great TikTok videos, you post some of your stand-up on there as well, and I shared the clip of you talking about your bra and underwear talking to each other with my wife. She could not have been more delighted by it, as someone who deeply related to the joke.
Yep. That's
She
for
was,
people who have bras and underwears.
yeah.
Yeah.
She loved it a lot. So she doesn't.
Okay, well, thank you.
She's also like she watches Dropout stuff with me, but not at all in the TTRPG like D20 space.
Mhm.
So like she doesn't not care when I'm interviewing someone.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
I don't know. My notifications are turned off, but then sometimes I don't know how to use my computer.
that's fair. I never know how to use my computer.
Yeah.
It's
But your wife isn't like deep into the Dropout universe. Yeah.
not into like Dimension 20 stuff. So
Okay.
like normally like I interview like a lot of like the model makers and stuff from that show, and she's very supportive and wonderful, and my wife is amazing, but is not like, oh, how was it? Like talk to me about the person who paints minis on an episode of a TV show I've never watched. But I was very excited when I told her I was interviewing you. So
I love that. I love that so much. Yeah, sometimes I feel like like I'll just do on stage whatever makes me giggle, and then you find your audience, right? Because like I'll do like impressions of inanimate objects, and sometimes they really hit, and then other times people are like, I don't understand this at all. But then if you just keep doing what makes you giggle, then you're going to find your people who are like going to follow you to the end of the world, you know?
Yeah. Delightful. I totally get that. Speaking of stage shows, look at that for a smooth transition. Talk to me about Not That Bad. Often Edinburgh. I don't know how to say it.
Edinburgh?
And the internet yells at me every time.
Every time I got yelled at too. And I was like, I tried it. Yeah. I tried it your way, and I'm doing it wrong still. I don't know what you want from me. I have a Midwestern accent. Sometimes people think I'm from the South. What do you want?
Yeah, I'm from St. Louis in the same way that, or excuse me, I'm from Chicago in the same way that Vic is from Chicago. I'm 6 hours south of it. I'm from right across the river from St. Louis. So I'm in Illinois, but I have to say St. Louis because if I say Illinois, people say Chicago. And I'm like, so far from Chicago.
So far away, I can't even claim it.
Yeah. But yeah, I also once said Glasgow. Oh boy. Ooh. The internet came for me. And one person wrote it's not GLASGOW, it's GLAZGO. And I was like, okay, but you get it, right? Like, you just spelled it the way the word is spelled and told me it's not pronounced that way. Like, you spelled it phonetically how the word is spelled. How could you? I understand you're mad. I get it. But you can't say, like, it's not how the word is spelled. It's this other pronunciation. Right. Anyway, this was just to yell about Europeans being snotty about pronunciations. By the way, when they can't say Louisville, they figure out Louisville, Kentucky, then come talk to me about Edinburgh.
That's true. We have some of those over here too. And also people say Illinois. And I'm like, I get it. There is an S, but it's silent because the English language is bananas. Yeah. So yeah, I was in Edinburgh. I believe I'm saying that right. And you do have to do the sort of full body pronunciation of that. But I was there for the Fringe, which is like the biggest international comedy festival. And I was there the entire month performing Not That Bad, which is it's my one-woman show. It's an hour of stand-up and storytelling, sort of under the theme of walking around my life saying that things that have happened to me are not that bad. And I think that the reality of everyone's life is that we have like a palatable version of our lives that we tell people. And then there's always sort of like a deeper truth to the things that have happened to us. And so it's sort of highlighting that like dichotomy.
And that show, if people are in the United States, could they see it anytime soon?
Yes, I'm going to actually be performing on December 1st, which is a Sunday at the Lyric Hyperion at 5:30 p.m. So like a cute little matinee, come see a show, grab a drink with me afterwards. It'll be good. I would describe it as sometimes it'll be ha-ha funny, and then sometimes it's like getting hit by a car on your birthday funny. Because that's funny too.
It is funny too. Yeah, my wife got not when she was like pretty young on her way to a birthday party, got in a car accident. Obviously, fine. But like it's a good story now.
But right, because it's just supposed to be like it is funny that some people are like celebrating their birthday or getting married and then other people are like burying their loved ones. Like it's not like we're not like laughing, but it's just like the irony of life and you can talk to somebody and their worst day is that they got stuck in traffic and then somebody else's worst day on that same day or even as the person talking to them is that like their dad's dying in the hospital.
Yeah, it makes me. I mean, Izzy Rowland has a new movie coming sometime called Dead that's about when her dad died, and like based on that, the story is very different. The story, if you don't know, is that it's her dead father is haunting everyone in the family except for her, which is a fantastic premise. But when I talked to her about it, and she was like, "Yeah, it's this wild thing because you're like, oh." Like I need to find the bathroom. Also, my dad is dying. Like I need to get a sandwich to eat. Also, my dad is dying. Like that, like wild dichotomy of existence.
It's so
of like
crazy. Yeah, my father passed away as well, and was like sick for like a couple. Yeah,
same club. Oh yeah, dead dad. Long time club member. 1984, baby.
Whoa! So you're young.
I'm 41. So I was born in 1983. He wasn't there for very much of it.
Oh my God, you were so young.
Yeah.
So. Do you remember?
No, not at all.
No, not at all. Okay,
yeah.
Cool. I was gonna say like I had no idea how old you were. And also I don't really do math. So in my head I was like, you were born? I know how parents work.
Yeah.
No, yeah. It's interesting, and I find it to be interesting to talk to people who have different experiences, like when they were really, really young, maybe don't have a memory, but always have a memory of having a dead dad, or like later in life or middle of life, like teenager or like when it happens, I think really also informs your experience. But I said the traffic thing because when I got the call that my dad was in the hospital and it was like a whole thing and I won't go into it, but I knew that I was like, oh, I bet he's not awake. You just have a feeling. But no one was saying anything over the phone. They were just like, we're buying you a ticket, like come back. He's in the hospital. He's very sick. I was dating somebody at the time who was picking their brother up from the airport, LAX. Ugh, it's terrible to go to LAX. Yeah. And he was going there during rush hour. Also terrible. This is before I came out of the closet. But and so I was on the phone with him and he was going on and on and on about his horrible day caught in traffic. And I was sort of giggling on the other end, just being like, oh, you don't even know. And it was like oddly extremely satisfying to me because then he was like, how was your day? And I was like, well, actually my dad is dying in the hospital and I have to leave immediately. I have to leave Los Angeles.
I also may have to go to LAX, but I'm probably going to go to Burbank because I make like a little ride. Decisions. Yeah.
Just sort of turn around, pick me up. But he got like mad. He like started to get mad at me for letting him go on about traffic. And I was like, I get that. That's fun for me. Like there is something like sick and twisted maybe about it, but it also like, it just makes you go like, yeah, somebody's caught in traffic. Somebody's burying their father. What do you want from me?
Yeah. Yeah, God, this is so weird. I was talking to my mom yesterday about, she taught school for a whole bunch of years, and like, I keep wanting to say kindergarten, and it's not the word. Primary school. Okay. No, like first through like fifth grade.
Oh, okay.
Elementary. That's elementary the word. School. Elementary school.
Cool. I didn't know it either.
Yeah. And she was a science teacher, and she had like a skeleton in her room. And the principal walked by and said, "Oh, is that your husband?" And my mom said, "Could be," and laughed. And then the principal like went on their way, thinking they just made this killer joke, and like went and told someone, and someone was like, "Hey, you know her husband's dead, right?" And they were like, "Oh no!" And so they got my mom. My mom
Funny.
got called into the principal's office
Oh my God.
for an apology.
Right, of course. Being like,
Yeah.
oh, that
Yeah.
was uncalled for.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's if you have humor, or if like humor is something that you do reach for in times of tragedy, which I hope that everybody does, you are sort of able to like pad your life with like, okay, so this maybe on paper is like pretty terrible, but there has to be something in it that I'm finding joy in, because like we can't just wake up every day and be like, this is pretty terrible.
Yeah.
You
A
just like,
million percent. Yeah.
you just can't feel bad all the time.
Yeah. Got to do little bits. I
Mm-hmm.
told a story this morning about one time someone punched me in the face and knocked one of my teeth out. And my face was pretty jacked up, and I kept doing the "This is me smiling" from Vanilla Sky that Tom Cruise does, and no one thought it was funny except for me, and I did it 1,000 times.
Some jokes are just for you.
Yeah. It cheered me up that my face was pretty messed up.
Face? Were you in like a brawl?
No, I've never hit someone, and I have been punched so many times.
Okay, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. You need to hang out with different people.
That's fair. That's fair. I have no idea how to transition back to your excellent show. Yeah.
Speaking of tragedy, you had your ex on your show. I don't know.
Speaking of, so I did scroll so far back on your Instagram, and found tragedy plus time equals comedy. You think that tragedy plus jokes equals comedy? It's very, very good. I was looking for something that like wouldn't hold up, and I was like, nah, that's solid.
You were literally like digging up dirt on me, trying to find something that didn't hold up.
No, that's something that didn't hold up. That's that. I know I said that. That is not what I meant. I was looking for something obscure to reference, because that's my favorite way to start an interview, with like a wildly obscure. Like, you played sexy teenage daughter on Hank Frisco.
Yeah, and in college, high school.
My brain was like, there's only like 2 possibly acceptable years where it could be sexy teenage anything. And my guess is it was not that on the show. But it was a comedy, so maybe. And then I was like, I'm not going to dive into it.
There was like a web series or something. I don't know, to be honest. I was like excited to do it. But probably looking back, it's just like me in a tank top, like jumping up and down.
Yeah, I mean, that is literally the character's name. I'm guessing the show didn't pass the Bechdel test just off of the name. But that's the kind of thing, like, I'm literally looking for, like, what's an obscure, weird thing that I could ask the person I'm interviewing that my audience will not understand. That's my favorite way to start an interview, is have the audience be absolutely confused.
Yeah, confused. That's how I like to start a date.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And speaking of starting dates, you had your ex on the show. Look at that.
Wow.
Nailed it. How was that? That seems, I would hate that. How was it for you?
Yeah, well, like, I find the queer community to be, it's large and vast. I live in a metropolitan city. I'm very lucky, but it's also like small, and so when you date someone for an extended period of time, like, you are sort of like, well, we are friends, and we were trying the whole thing of being friends after the relationship ended, and there was a lot of like getting back together and splitting up and getting back together and splitting up. So I just respect them so much as a creator and as a comedian, and I have this fun show that has a platform. So there was like no part of me that was like, I can't do it. I can't have them on. But like, I mean, the interview was a little bit like, like, I'm excited to look at the footage to see like how I am as a host, because there was like a little bit of awkwardness, because I'm like, there's still part of me that's like trying to impress this person, and I think there was still part of her that was like trying to impress me, and we both want to like look good in front of like the other person, but that's not really the show. Like, as a host, I'm supposed to just be bubbly and like whatever, and I'm also supposed to fall in love every episode,
right?
But it's a little tough when you're like, well, I already love
Yeah.
this
Whoops,
person,
we did this
or
part.
yeah, right, exactly.
Do you also have a stand-up bit about what stage of the relationship are you in? The part where you still tell each other you love each other and sleep with each other? That's you
Yeah,
as well, right? My
that's
brain was
me.
immediately just like, I was like, oh no, I watched so many clips of stand-up. What if this isn't Catherine? But it was
It is.
also a delightful bit.
Thank you so much. Lesbian breakups are different.
Yep. Um, oh, did Jordan and Kendall drive together to go on separate dates with you?
No, they didn't. But they were scheduled in the same day and they were back to back. And it was so cute because I think they were sharing a car that day or something. Or I don't know. I didn't ask, like, do you not have two cars? But so I believe I went on the date with Kendall first. It doesn't really matter. Jordan is actually our next episode, so I'm so
Ooh, exciting.
But so then we were chatting after the date and they were like, "Oh, I actually have to get the car back because you're, interviewing my partner next." And I was like, "Oh, of course." So it was like that was pretty fun.
Hey, shout out to you for you get that Gastronauts bump for your next episode because Gastronauts comes out on Friday, so that's a good time to release Jordan Myrick. That's good production.
It's almost like Sam Reich is a producer of both things,
and he knows what he's doing or something. Hey, when is Sam gonna have Not That Bad as a Dropout Presents? Let's make some enemies today.
Well, it's not like fully cooked, and also I don't know that it goes with the Dropout. They're totally expanding though in what they are producing and putting out. And oh my god, I'm in love with Chris Grace's special. I saw it live. I saw it here. I saw it in Edinburgh. I saw the taping when it was here also, and just seeing the different iterations of it was so delightful. And then they did a screening of the Dropout Presents of it in Edinburgh, and I saw that as well. And the way they cut everything together, it's just so perfect, and it fits so well into that universe. And I don't know if my show matches up in that way, but if you come on December 1st, then you can tell me if it does.
I demand that you say it does. Any other some other people you're excited about for folks to see this season? Obviously everyone, but
I know, I'm literally in love with everyone. It's crazy. Gosh, I'm totally every single episode that I go through and give notes on, I'm like, oh my god, my new girlfriend. It's nuts. I am actually excited to see how people receive the Grant episode, because obviously he is a man, and so I was a little tentative, honestly, but we were gonna put him higher up in the release order, and I was like, I don't know, I just don't know my fan base and stuff like that. But it is a really fun interview. He is overtly sexual in the way in which he speaks, and I sort of became clutch my pearls, I'm a Christian woman. And so that dynamic's very fun. And then Erika Ishii got me at the end. You'll know what I'm talking about when you watch the episode. And it's fun when I get caught off guard,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think that it'll be fun to watch my ex, Mari, on the show. Yeah. And then I go on second dates with Anna Garcia and Paula V. So I'm excited for those as well.
Yeah, those are very exciting. Movie star Anna Garcia. That's
I know.
Such a big deal now.
I know. I had to wear sunglasses because her star is just so bright.
That's entirely fair. Catherine, Pretty Gay is on Patreon. People obviously should go give you $5 and then never cancel because it will hurt your feelings, or more. Starting at $5, you can obviously give more. Not That Bad at the Hyperion Theater, I think, December 1st. That seems right. Anything else people should know about you? Also, where can they find you on the internets?
You should know nothing else about me. Find it all out online and follow me at Catherine_McCaff, and that's MCCAFF.
Amazing. Thank you so much. This is absolutely so delightful. It's
Thank
so
you.
fun to get to interview someone, like I said, who's also interviewed Vic Michaelis, because it's, I feel like, a very small club
It's
of people
probably a
who have
very small
gotten
club, yes.
to witness their absolute madness. This was delightful. Normally, I end an interview by saying I don't know how to end an interview, so I'm just going to stop recording. But for this case, stay pretty gay.
Yes, please remain pretty gay.